Who mourns for the fugitive doctor? Well, apparently nobody except, I guess, me. But even the title Fugitive Doctor doesn't really even work. The only real fugitive doctors was the first Doctor and the second Doctor. So there were two. The fugitive status comes to an end when the second Doctor is captured by the Time Lords at the end of War Games, put on trial and sentenced to exile, which was endured by the third Doctor. And that's that. So they got to come up with some sort of title for Jo Martin's Doctor. So Fugitive Doctor is what they called her because she was on the run in the episode. Jeez. So, why'd they do it? Oh, so they can have Chibnall have a headline saying Chibnall cast the first Doctor of color. And, and she gets to be the second female Doctor, except it was a bit anomalous and left, a teasing mystery as to who was she and how did she fit in, and it seemed to insinuate that she was a doctor from the past that the current Doctor with Jodie it just couldn't remember and couldn't recall. What's going on here? And she had a police box TARDIS and a control room that looked a lot better than what Jodie had. In fact, it's probably the best control room they've developed for New Who. She got that, and all that stuff. And she didn't know what a sonic screwdriver was, and they hadn't established it until the second Doctor and all that. So that put her before that. Oh boy! And yet this was another scenario where certain fan theories were better than the ones suggested by the show, even though I wasn't too fond of the one that she's a Doctor that took place between Troughton and Pertwee. The idea being, and this is due to other anomalies throughout Doctor Who, is that for whatever reason, before Troughton fully regenerated, it was interrupted, and he was sent on these missions. So that's to explain some anomalous dialogue and scenes in the 5 Doctors, and then later in the 2 Doctors, the graying of his hair is that he's almost regenerating into Pertwee, and that was the idea. And they sent him on these missions for whatever reason, and they went and got Jamie back for him to help him out, I guess, and then re-erase his memories and all that, but it's just the way because it doesn't really fit the way it's presented, so that's just sort of tossed in there to explain this sort of thing. But that's all done accidentally. Just didn't think it through, whereas this stuff is done deliberately. But the fan theory was that eventually Troughton regenerated into Jo Martin, and that she continued on these missions and then ran away and eventually got recaptured by the Time Lords and turned into the Pertwee Doctor, memory wiped, and he wakes up for some reason wearing Troughton's clothes again and, joins the unit and all that stuff. Well, no, it doesn't work. And of course, her hair isn't white or gray or whatever, so that doesn't explain that, Troughton's hair turning white in mid-regeneration and stuff. So it didn't really work, but it was an attempt to try to figure this out, and instead it's just this laziness of the Timeless Child, which destroys the canon and lore of Doctor Who, and that Hartnell's not the first incarnation of the Doctor, and it's just lazy slapjob stuff. And all it was to tokenize people like Miss Martin here. So when I say who mourns for Martin, what does she get? Well, she got 1 episode and then some cameos, and that's it. But wait, she gets a comic book. Oh, great. So here we are at Screen Rant. And Thomas Bacon, well, at least this isn't something he pulled out of his ass in his theories about Doctor Who. No, this is actually a comic book that confirms Jo Martin's Fugitive Doctor was the real first Doctor. For years, viewers believed William Hartnell's first Doctor to be the first incarnation because, he's the first Doctor. Wandering Time Lord known as the Doctor, evidence to the contrary, such as and this crap, the Morbius episode. All this is commentary by the producer after the fact saying, hey, we kind of thought about that this could be other Doctors. But it's clear within the presentation of the episode, those are incarnations of Morbius. who was this powerful Time Lord that nearly defeated the Doctor, but his brain had gotten soft being in a jar for so many years. And he loses this battle that they had. But the idea, he starts to lose when all these other faces come, because they're going through his incarnation. At first they were going through the Doctor's incarnations, which was the first 3 Doctors within the series and all that. And then these other guys show up, and those were all faces of Morbius. So unless you have to accept that Morbius never regenerated, he never did. He stayed in that one body and then got executed, and the mad scientist stole his brain. So, yeah, that's ridiculous. So it's stupid. Like, this is, this confirms this. No, it doesn't. And then later, Timeless Child. It's not really a Time Lord at all. She is the Timeless Child, a being who potentially predates the universe. So it's Dr. God. It's not Doctor Who. It's Dr. God, and that's how they got regeneration. How the hell did River Song get regenerated? And it was exposure to the time vortex and all the Eye of Harmony. No. That was all for years, this stuff. And all of a sudden, it was some kid that Tectuine tortured repeatedly. And isn't that a better story? Oh, God, such awful stuff. And just, even if you thought it was a good idea, you would have thought you'd give it a detailed narrative instead of just, well, here it is. There was this kid, and guess what, Doctor? It was you. Was? Yeah, but they fried your brain over and over again so you don't remember. Wow. And that was it. Just lazy garbage. And but here we get a comic book for Joe Martin's Doctor. How about that? And oh boy, it's being told in a miniseries, except I guess the first issue was a free one, so they had to give it away for free. And but Jodie Hauser's comic book will fill in the blanks here of why she ran away and was on the run from the Division. Yeah, and why she hid on Earth. Oh boy, this will explain why the Doctor likes Earth so much, And then we get to see when the TARDIS turns into a police box for the first time. No, we saw that way back when in Hartnell's first adventure, when they go back in time to the caveman days, and the TARDIS arrives and it's still a police box, and the Doctor looks at it. It's still a police box. Why is it still a police box? He doesn't understand why it's happened. Well, it's the chameleon circuit broke, and that was the first time that happened, and it stayed pretty much stuck like that till the 6th Doctor kind of figured out how to make it work again, but that it wouldn't stay, and it just reverted back to the police box and all that. But anyway, that was the deal. That's the first time that happened. It makes no sense whatsoever that it happened before to some other TARDIS, I guess, because once again, thanks to the Impossible Girl with Clara and all that witnessing when Susan and the Doctor left Gallifrey, and it's just this, the TARDIS is in its original state of this cylinder, and there they go into it, and that's that, but somehow it just happens to turn into a police box again, because somewhere buried in the subconscious of Hartnell's Doctor, he remembered when he was Joe Martin, that for some reason it became a police box. It's so bad, so lazy, not even trying because you don't care, because you tokenize this woman is what you did. Now, what would have been the better solution for this? Well, not do it at all. Yeah, well, she should have been the 14th Doctor. Yeah. It's always, and I've said this before, that an interesting idea of how to do a different take on regeneration stories for the Doctor when your current actor is moving on and you're doing the last season or series or what have you, and so you cast the next Doctor and you have that ready to go, and instead of just waiting for the final episode and they're laying on the floor, you do the fade in and all that stuff, and then it's the new Doctor, see you next time. Instead, you kind of weave this new character into the story, and it turns out that's the future Doctor, because it's time travel stuff, so it can happen. And not just for anniversary specials and stuff like that. So that's what it could have been, and you could have had this narrative where something happens to Jodie's doctor to the point that she has to regenerate from severe injuries or what have you, but it causes some memory loss, so she doesn't remember all of this, and so this new doctor won't remember what happened and doesn't recognize Jodie when she meets her, and then you could weave that story where she does get her memories back. And then there was rumors about because the way the TARDIS was looking in the Flux story, that there was something wrong with it, and they don't really resolve it or nothing. And of course, you ran out of time for Flux. They couldn't afford it, and then there was COVID lockdowns and all that stuff. So maybe there was something to this, that the TARDIS was dying and Jodie, and maybe they still will do this in their final episode. I don't know, but and that's why it resets. And so Joe Martin's TARDIS control room looks more like the old classic TARDIS control rooms that you saw in the old show. Not completely. It's got its own design and everything. But, you could throw that in there, that's what happened in order to save the TARDIS, that it resets to its default settings or something like that. And that explains why it looks the way it does and everything. So it's kind of, you're painted into a corner for someone like Russell T Davies to succeed Chibnall and have to deal with that, but it's a better solution than this crap. The only other possibility is that Chibnall's just going to say it's all multiverse stuff and then move on. And there's telltale signs of this in some of the behind-the-scenes business and all this sort of stuff. Perhaps that's what he'll do. I don't know, but she's not the first Doctor. It's such unnecessary stuff, and it's insulting. It's not the decent thing to do. She should have been Jodie's successor. However you want to handle it, with specials or what have you, or give her the full series. She does 3 years. I don't know, and that's what you do. But just a comic book, maybe some Big Finish stories. No. And it's enough of this crap. I mean, I never really liked the War Doctor idea. I thought that was disruptive to the lore and everything. Great having John Hurt be the Doctor, but not like that. And there's ways to fix it, I think. But it's just too much of that nonsense. And not being careful with the property you have. And just going and just rewriting a decades-old show because you got nothing. Because you're lazy, and for the identity politics, virtue signaling, which is absolutely atrocious. You're not being respectful in any form of fashion. You just tokenized this character just for the purpose of it, and that's it. A comic book. Wow. So it's unfortunate because I gotta say, a lot of people it was only a brief 1 episode, but she was better at it than Jodie was. And I mean, and she was carrying this rifle and everything. It was like, oh, well, I wonder what this is. It doesn't matter. It's just some little silly comic book story. Oh, she ran away from the division and they were upset. And then she got married. She had a husband. He gets killed. No one even sees who mourns that guy, No one seems to care. And oddly enough, she didn't seem to care either. That was odd. I mean, she was mad at the other time lady chasing her, but yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't any good. It was terrible, and hopefully it's retconned away. But it's sad that you introduce this character just for superficial crap like that, and it's rather insulting. And does the exact opposite of what they probably thought the intention would be, But anyway, no, Hartnell was the first Doctor, and that's that. So it's just a comic book. No one's going to care anyway, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But it's just these idiot times we live in, So that's too bad for Joe Martin's Doctor.